Hi, welcome to Healing the Trauma Within. In this session, I'm speaking with Adele Brimage. We are going to be talking about creating internal wealth. Let me tell you about Adele. She helps women find internal peace and heal core wounds while creating the life they desire on their terms. Adele is a multi-award-winning transformational internal wealth coach, writer, and global international speaker with over 25 years of experience and the founder of AdeleBrimage.com and Adele Brimage Business and Lifestyle Retreats. Through her coaching and speaking, Adele creates a space where women can see how incredibly wonderful they truly are. She cares passionately about helping women to receive the gift of loving themselves, become more visible, allowing them to develop a deep appreciation for who they really are. Adele supports women to clearly see what they can achieve and create in their life or business, and supports them to let go of any blocks or barriers like guilt, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs that might be getting in their way, producing internal confidence and external wealth. Welcome, Adele.
I'm more than happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you. This is going to be great because I think as trauma survivors, we feel internally poor. And so being able to tap into our internal wealth, and I'm going to have you explain what that means here in a second, is something that I think we all desperately want. So let's start with having you explain to us what it really means by creating internal wealth.
Well, I think internal wealth, everybody knows what wealth is, so they think it's money, but internal wealth is knowing who you are. It's about loving yourself. It's about feeling confident in yourself, loving life, getting rid of the stories that don't serve you, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people. It's anything that at your core makes you able to do your life on your terms, because that's what it's all about. And so many women don't do that. They do their lives according to the rules that they think are laid down for them. But this is your life, and you're the writer, you're the producer, and you're the main actor. So write the life that you actually want to live, not the one that somebody else says you have to do or be or have, because it's all around you creating that internal wealth so that you know who you are.
Absolutely. And I think, society plays a huge role on the role that we think we should be playing, as well as, our family, our friends, and then of course our own thoughts. I should be doing this. I should be this. I should be that, as opposed to I should just be me.
But how many women are actually just themselves? How many women know that they can do that?
Not many.
No.
Not
and
many.
I think the thing is that even when you get to the place when you think this is my life and I'm going to do it my way, you have by that point had many years on this planet, and you have built up a whole host of stories around how your life is supposed to be and who you are and what you can be and what you can do and what you can have. And it's all rubbish, because I think the thing is that when I was growing up, I didn't have any females around me that were modeling what it looks like to be a confident woman. And I think I just, like many women, I just thought this is how you do life.
Right.
And it wasn't until I got much older and I started to actually think to myself, well, actually, what do I want? Because that's a big question. And I think we never ask ourselves that question, like, what do I actually want my life to look like? And I started to contemplate what I had and what I really desired. Because I think when I got to the point I was questioning myself, and it's the same with many of my clients, I'd like to say I'm unique in this, but I'm not. Most women, majority of women, think very similar thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that all my desires I'd locked away. I didn't even think about what I truly wanted anymore, because before the thought could actually be in my head for a second or two, I'd already discounted it. I'd already told myself that it wasn't possible for me to have whatever I truly wanted. And so I stopped dreaming. I stopped desiring things. I made do with what life was giving me, not knowing that I had the power to create the life I desire. And I think it's a shame when that happens, because we give away our power to other people, and we give it away so freely without actually knowing that that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. And, bringing it back around to trauma, with trauma, our power, our sense of control is taken away from us. And so we feel powerless. We feel like we don't have control over our lives anymore. So, trying to figure out who you are is tough.
It surely is. And I think the thing is, situations happen in everybody's life, good situations, bad situations. But one of the things I've learned is it's how I choose to see what's happening to me. So do I want to think about it as if, oh, why is this always happening to me, and take on that victim mentality? Or do I want to think, okay, this is what's happening. What do I truly want from this? How else can I see this? Because I think when we choose to add gratitude to everything that happens to us, and I know that sounds really crazy, but gratitude, I think, is the soil that we plant all our hopes and our dreams in, and gratitude is what helps them to grow. And so I know there's been times in my life that have been really horrible situations. So horrible, I've not wanted to be here anymore.
Mm.
And when I think about them, I think, but if them situations hadn't happened, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. And I'm not saying that we ask for these situations, but what I am saying is whatever happens, it's you're in charge of how you choose to see this. You can go down the path of sticking in that victim mentality forever, or you can say, okay, this is what happened. That's the past. I'm leaving that in the past and I'm choosing to move forward. But how do I want to do things moving forward? Do I want to do things differently? And if that's the case, how do I want to do them?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about those stories that we tell ourselves, because we're full of them. And
Oh, we
like
are.
you said, they're all rubbish.
They are.
How do we start changing those stories?
I think the first thing you have to do is you have to understand that they're rubbish. They're a pattern of thinking that you've been thinking for a very long time. And you have to, all of the stories that you tell yourself are connected to beliefs that you believe about who you are. So having a self-image where in your head, you know who you are. You're not reliant. You see, so many times I think we look for external verification to say who we are, that we're smart enough, or that we're pretty enough, or whatever it could be. And I think one of the things I've learned is that it's really important to look internally at them times to actually know who you are. And so having a self-image where you're confident about who you are, where you don't require anybody else, because what they have to say about you is none of your business anyway.
Right.
That's their stuff. And you have your own path to follow. And I think we can't change the stories until we know what beliefs sit behind them. And the problem is that we've adopted all these beliefs from when we were young. When I think about all the beliefs that I had, that it's taken me a while to get rid of, they all came from they started with my parents, and I modeled not just what I saw happening around me, but the messages that were given to me. And I took them into my adult life, even though the majority of them didn't serve me in my adult life. Because let me just give you one. My mum had um, a fear of anything happening to me when I was a baby, when I was young. And I didn't know that unconsciously I adopted this belief system. So the world was a very scary place to me. But this was all at a unconscious level. And because the world was a scary place to me, I put out thoughts that said that nothing is safe. And so for a long time in my life, nothing was safe. Nothing
Right.
was safe. And I even carried that through to when I had my children. I wouldn't let them do things in case anything happened to them. But I didn't know where this belief came from. I didn't know that I had a belief system that said the world's a scary place. And once I started to unpack the stories that I had around this, and I actually thought as a grown woman, what do I believe? I thought, no, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. And I changed how I chose to see my life and the world around me. And things in my life started to change.
And that absolutely happens. When you change your thoughts, you change your life. It's
Yeah.
it sounds so simple, and in a way it is, but in a way it's not,
No,
you
it's
know.
not, because you've got all of these ingrained
Hmm.
belief systems that are unconscious. So you don't even know they're there.
Yeah.
And you see, so many times we say it's just who I am, but it's not who you are, because you've never met who you are, because there's so many beliefs that are there. I mean, I stayed in a relationship for 22 years of my life that 10 minutes after I went into, I knew I wanted to leave, but it took me 22 years to leave because of all the belief systems that I had going on inside me that told me this wasn't the thing to do. I wouldn't be a nice person. If I persevere, things will get better. Well, I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. And I did it for 22 years. And it didn't change anything. It didn't change anything. All it did was it took me down a very long road, and a very dark road at times, that I could have stopped from happening if I'd have listened to the voice in my head that said, this is a bad idea. If I hadn't listened to all of the things that I'd been told I was supposed to do, and I'd done what I actually knew to do, but I was ignoring that voice that says, this is not the greatest idea you've ever had. I was ignoring that voice. And I was listening to the voices of all the people that were around me. And it will get better. And in the end, I gave in. I didn't do what I knew to do. And I think that's what happens sometimes. We discount ourselves. We stop loving ourselves. It took me till I was 50 to actually be able to say, I love me, all of me. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I love me. I don't need your approval
Right.
because I know who I am. Because I was so reliant on other people telling me who I was, what I could have, and none of it's the truth. None of it's the truth.
Yep. I grew up the same way. My mom used to tell me that what I wanted to be when I grew up, I couldn't do,
Yeah.
you know. And so the dreams that I had as a child that should have come to fruition didn't. And you know, my life took a different path, and here I am today, and I'm grateful for it. Um, but if I had listened to myself instead of her, I would have had a completely different life.
But the thing is,
But
hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
it
Because
is,
we can all say that.
yeah,
But actually, the thing is, you're here and you're doing a wonderful thing that you might not have been doing if you'd have took a different path.
very true.
So even though life didn't, for a large majority of my life, turn out as I wanted it to, now it's the life I always dreamed I would have but didn't have. Now I have everything I thought I ever wanted, and it's getting better and better and better because I'm allowing myself to say yes to all the things that I desired. I'm listening to me now, and that's what the message I give women. Please listen to yourself because nobody knows you better than you. Stop telling yourself that you don't know who you are. Get really in touch with who you are. Figure out what your desires are and then go for them.
Absolutely. I love it. Adele, thank you so much for joining me today, for giving us this wonderful insight.
It's been a pleasure. I really wish you well with this summit. I hope that
Thank you.
many women listen and that they get the nuggets that they're waiting to hear.
I hope so too. I hope so too. That's the whole point of this. So
Yeah,
thank you.
you're
And
more than welcome.
and listeners, thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you in one of the next sessions.